Hello, everybody. Here we are back at the studio, going to transition back into the drawing earlier. We did a little bit of the painting the sphere. If you want to check that video out, it should be up in the next couple hours, and you'll be able to see that. And I'll probably continue that one tomorrow morning, and so that's that. And so we're gonna head back into the skull, push this pretty far today, I would say. I'm going to spend probably about let's see, a good amount of time the rest of my day on the skull. So I spent about an hour on the sphere, and so the skull I'm going to probably spend a little bit more time with because it's a pencil and I don't have to wait for like certain layers to dry, and so that's what we're going to be doing probably for the next like 4 or 5 hours. So get ready, and there's going to be a lot of information coming your way. So here we go. So let's just review for where we were at last time. So I think we were just we were kind of keeping, we kind of started to break apart certain areas into, we had two values in the shadow just to separate some drawing information to give us some things to grab onto. So we'll continue with that. Let's see here. So I'm gonna try to darken this area right here behind the jaw and try to darken that right now so that we can kind of get that to jump out at us a little bit. Let's just get this little bit of just make sure I'm not in the way. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, so it's kind of going to be I may not talk as much on these following videos today. I will talk, but it will be a little bit fewer in between. I mean, I'll try my best too. I think it's helpful to know what's going on, but at the same time, it's good to just kind of watch as I go about the drawing. So I'm just darkening certain areas. Basically just reevaluating anything that seems like it could be done better. So I think I'm going to try to kind of draw with the eraser here. Kind of doing, almost putting in it's a false value for drawing purposes. It's not necessarily what is up there, but you can kind of put it in these like kind of false values in order to find your drawing again. You're gonna kind of find that your second day you're gonna kind of not be too happy with certain things, and you're gonna want to change things. And, you want to change things, but you're gonna be pretty. You should be if you were working, really observing. You should be pretty accurate, and it should just be little subtle things, and you really shouldn't have to change around too much. Yeah, because you're probably pretty close, or closer than you think. So I just kind of blocked in, well, I put in like sort of a lighter value than is there, but I'm just trying to sort of kind of use that as a drawing value, or like a fault. Like it's not really there, but I'm trying to explain that in a way where it's not so confusing, but like it's just to give me an idea of where certain shapes are. So I'm just gonna like leave that as that for right now, even though it's not like the correct value, but I'm not really per se going for correct values. I'm sort of still drawing this out. So I'm throwing in some darker value in the background right now. That's really gonna help the it's gonna help the skull pop a bit more. It's gonna bring in a sense of atmosphere, trying to always try to kind of create a sense of air around the object with a value, and that sense gives us it allows us to kind of almost carve out the outer contour of the skull as well. Like I'm refining that cranium with this background value, laying it in pretty loosely. So yeah, just continually blocking this thing in, using that background value to add the atmosphere and the air around the skull, and to carve it out as well. So that kind of gives you a sense. You want to kind of have it's good to have this value and then that other value, so then you can kind of differentiate from, where's the skull from the background, but you still want them to kind of fuzz together somewhat in certain areas. So you want to, but for right now, we want to kind of really work on the drawing. So we're kind of maybe separating it a little bit more than we would do in the later stage. So that gives us something to kind of gauge against this shape and that shape. And yeah, I'm just really trying to darken that down as much as I can get it without going pitch black. So I'm gonna try to use this this graphite block here just to get a big or really get a broad section of this graphite on here. So this is kind of like new for me, this charcoal block, or this graphite block. So it's kind of like a charcoal block. So it really seems to, from what I'm seeing right now as I'm using it, it seems to really give a nice dark to it, really dark. So you got a real boldness to it. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. As you can see, that's very dark. And these are, I think they're from DeWent Art Materials. They're from, yeah, here's the package here. It's probably going to be backwards or something, yeah. But it's like graphite extra large. This is the soft version. I think they have like hard, and they might even have extra soft, and I think they have them in like a burnt umber. I have that one, and I have this black one. They have green. They have all kinds of different variations. Just drinking some tea here. Sorry about that a little bit. So now what I'm gonna do I'm gonna see if I can go in with one of my handy little sponge paintbrush things here. Still not really sure what these are called. They're like some kind of thing to clean like, I guess, like camera lenses. It's like this microfiber brush thing. You know, you can use blending stumps and tissue. You can use like paper towels or probably they'll have slightly different effects, but say I'm just kind of using it as a almost a painting material. Sort of. Obviously, there's gonna be sort of like crumbs and stuff that will come with this, I guess. Sort of like a charcoal. I could see this being a really good a way to tone the background. Maybe do it beforehand rather than what I'm doing here. This is a little bit backwards, maybe in my thinking now, but it's good to experiment with this stuff. Does seem to be giving a nice rich dark value, which is good. But as you can see, you can kind of draw with this brush once it's kind of loaded, and you can use these when they're kind of constantly use these. They never really go bad because you can use them you can actually draw the skull. If you wanted to just start out and actually use these as the drawing material, blocking in the eye socket like this, and then your cheekbone be here, and then maybe putting in the light, and then maybe the nasal cavity here, right, and putting in that part there, the eye socket part, supraciliary crest. Look at that. So you can kind of see how you could draw with the material as well as use it to blend. So now I'm kind of going in with a pencil and sort of burnishing the pencil lead, that graphite down, and sort of smoothing it a little bit, refining it. So as you can see, there's a big jump in value from this and the skull, which is good. Now it gives us that separation, but maybe we want to add a little bit, make this a little bit darker now that this has gotten darker. So we're kind of readjusting some values at this point. So as you can see, that just darken that down a bit. So we don't want to make this cranium as dark as, say, the background there, but we want it to be dark enough to where we can start to push the value ranges in the light. So we want it to be dark enough to where we can, you know, push the values basically. So another area maybe, so basically we're kind of like correcting the contours with the background right now, because we've kind of, a lot of our drawing and stuff has been, it's been kind of complete by this time. Just checking some different things and might be off. Checking. So maybe I'll use that this block here for blocking some value here. So yeah, this seems to be very very bold in value. So yeah, I guess you kind of want to be a little bit more careful when using that. As you can see, it's pretty powerful. I'm noticing the maybe this mouth can sort of pull out more, but I'm gonna kind of I'm gonna try to use my this little brush thing and push in this background value and try to use that as my use that and then pull out that mouth from the background. Sort of want to even that background out. Get in here. As you can see, there's a lot of crumbs. Just gotta blow them off, or sometimes it's better to actually just kind of have a nice brush on hand, which I don't have right now, and just kind of brush it away, because sometimes when you blow on it, you kind of blow your spit on there, and water and paper, yeah, they don't mix too well. So I try to be careful if I am blowing that I don't have any saliva shooting out of my mouth. So yeah, just be careful of that if you're blowing on it. So yeah, it looks like we're kind of getting a sense for the background, and I noticed there's, like, I kind of took out the vertebrae part of, like, it's kind of a floating skull right now. That's just because I want sort of focus more so on the just the skull, so it's not really about, everything else around it right now. I want to really focus on the forms in the skull. And later on, maybe we could put in the vertebrae if we feel like that help. So it just takes, it might take you a little while to build these values, these really kind of darker values, such in the background and in these little areas that poke through. So just be patient. That's key here is patience. So I think I'm gonna try to maybe correct this shape here, the super ciliary. A little bit closer to where it needs to be. Kind of refining some of this. Still trying to keep it relatively blocky, but slowly going into the a little bit more complexity here. Really want to start maybe focusing on this area a little bit, pulling that, sharpening certain angles on this nose, getting that to read a little bit clearer. So yeah, just a kind of a back and forth type thing. I'm noticing that these teeth should be sticking out a little bit, maybe a little bit further than what I have. And just kind of using my pencil as a general marker for that. See where it's lining up at. So I'm going to push them a little bit further maybe than I think they should be. But it'll kind of fall into place once I check it. So yeah, I just push them and that seems to read a little bit better. But you can tell that there's a strong light and shadow, which is what we're really trying to hammer home in this drawing. So it's just a constant, you're just going to be changing these shapes around for a while, and the drawing process in itself is it's a slow one. It takes a good deal of time to bring these to a pretty solid finish. There's a lot of tediousness to it, but it really teaches you to really be patient and to wait, and things will come from patience. Yeah, so it really should look pretty graphic, not in, in the sense of like bloody or not in that graphic, but I mean like design graphic. Like it should feel like like if this was on a t-shirt, it should feel kind of bold and pleasing to look at. Just the light and the shadow, very stencil-esque looking. So it's really important to kind of keep going, sort of push it forward, but also try to sort of go back and forth between, like trying to constantly simplify it, but also bring it into a more nuanced form. So that can be kind of tricky because it's sort of, it's like sort of a, you know what I mean? It's just a kind of a weird thing. Like, how do you make something simple but complex, but push the complexity at the same time? It's a sort of a contradictory of each other, but but you'll kind of understand as you kind of go through the process. A lot of this is just a lot of, like I said, patience and letting it letting the drawing kind of guide you and ask and listen to it and feel what it kind of needs. So as you see, I'm kind of, you might notice that I get quiet at times, and that's just the nature of the process. It's, you start to get into a rhythm, and it kind of goes beyond the explanation of what to do. It's kind of, this is kind of where you kind of just have to really be observant and ask the right questions of what the drawing might need. So it's really just, it's kind of up to you at this point to sort of make those judgments for yourself in a way, but also still, I'll still be guiding you, but just a little bit less guidance, because most of the information is down, and at this point we're just trying to really it's just subtle, a lot of subtle things shifting that really just takes some time to get them there. Looks like we're almost about approaching the 30-minute mark here, and just fine. So I think we're gonna maybe stop about here. We'll pick this back up in a little bit, and we'll pretty much just continue gradually moving forward. Alright, I'm going to cut out the video right now. If you haven't yet, subscribe. It's free. Comment below if you have any questions. I'll be free to answer them. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.